James Gray. Jim is not someone who just talks the talk. Jim has walked the walk. Jim has been a federal prosecutor. Jim has been a JAG officer. Jim served in Vietnam. Jim was 20 years as a judge, and he realized the drug war is going nowhere. It's destroying families. It's breaking up homes. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time, and it's a wrong thing for us to do. Jim Gray has been out there writing books, lecturing, and talking to other judges, talking to lawyers, talking to liberty lovers like us about what is wrong with this government. And the drug war, the Federal Reserve, the welfare state, the war mentality, you go right down that bad list. One evil after another. And whether you vote for Obama or Romney or whatever they are, they're just the same. But we have alternatives this year. We have Gary Johnson and Jim Gray. It's my honor to introduce Judge Jim Gray.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks to all of us who really do care about our freedom. I hate to tell you something you already know, but this government we have for decades has been making us more and more of a police state, making us more and more dependent on the government, and it's not an accident. We must stand up and stop this. We have so many problems in our great country today, and you know what they are. They're the loss of freedom, the loss of prosperity, the loss of equal opportunity, and I'm here to tell you that we have one fellow who really is on the opposite side of that, and that is a guy by the name of Governor Gary Johnson. He has lived this, he has led, he has survived. You know, yes, Mark, 20 years ago, April of 1992, as a sitting trial court judge, I held a press conference, somewhat unusual thing for a sitting judge to do, stating my conclusions that our drug policy simply had failed, was not working, churning low-level drug offenders through the system, putting people in prison that simply should not be there, etc. The reason I say that now is that actually in 1999, a fellow whom honestly I'd never heard of, Governor Gary Johnson of New Mexico, held his own press conference and said, same thing. It isn't working. He conducted what he called his audit, and the drug policy, drug prohibition had to change, and he actually did something about it. This is the man that we need, because he does the right thing for the right reason. He understands liberty. This is the man that we must support. I am proud to be his running mate. You know, a little while ago, actually in Spokane, in Washington, I was talking to a group at noon, and I got there a little bit early and met this 3-year-old named Jake, and his mother had brought him. And then as I do, I incorporated his name into my presentation. So I was saying, I really regret to say that my generation has made a mess of this. We've been so financially irresponsible, and then it's going to be up to our children to pay it back. And then I looked at Jake and I said, and Jake is bankrupt. Poor little Jake didn't have any idea what the word bankrupt meant, but he starts to cry. Okay, some candidate I am, I'm making 30-year-olds cry. But if he did know what the word bankrupt meant, he had every reason to cry. Look, folks, this is serious stuff, and we've got to get our financial house in line. We go back to Dr. Ron Paul. You know, I didn't even know this, but thanks to Ron Paul, we did get a partial audit of the Fed, and now you're all aware, trillions of our dollars have gone to bail out foreign banks. We didn't know this before. Hey, I have an idea. Governor Johnson says, first thing we do in office is we have an audit of the entire federal government. The entire federal government using generally accepted accounting principles. It's never happened before. And even the Pentagon, of all things. Now, they're resisting, of course, national secrets, nonsense. We will not give away national secrets, but we will have an audit of the entire government, including the Pentagon. And then, again, we will bring our troops home from anywhere they're fighting in which our national security interests are not at stake. How many of you believe that our national security interests are in Somalia today? That we should be fighting in Somalia, for heaven's sake? And the answer is no. How many indeed think that our national interests are in Yemen? And the answer is no. Bring them home. What What about the Sudan? Oh, maybe the Sudan. How about how many people feel that our national security interests are being fought for in Sudan? No. Let's bring them home. Different question. How many of you believe that our national security interests are now being fought for in Afghanistan? Let's bring them home. What do you think? Now. Not in 2014. Now. Let's bring our civilian fighters home from Iraq. Now. We can't afford it. Even if we could, even if it was working, we cannot afford it. How many of you agree with me that of all things, we've got to stop our foreign aid now? Yes? Of course. These are things that we will do. And you know, I looked at the vice presidential debate, and I was mortified not to be a part of that. I got to tell you, the Republicans and Democrats are brilliant as to what they have done in the Presidential Debates Commission, so-called. You know, they've really worked it well, and they've really done a brilliant job. Harmful for the people of the United States of America, harmful for the cause of freedom, financial responsibility, but brilliant for those two guys. But nevertheless, did you agree with me in looking at Biden and looking at Paul Ryan, there was just an animated love fest agreement going on there about who's going to be the first and strongest to bomb Iran. How many of you agree with me? We're not going to bomb Iran unless they attack us or our allies. The answer is no. The answer still is no. We're not going to go to war with Iran. We are not going to do that. It is not in our best interest. In fact, you may look at China today and understand there's a major principle at work here. People don't tend to shoot their customers. Not a bad thought. You don't tend to shoot your customers. Let's trade with people. Let's repeal the income tax, abolish the IRS, so we can have our products compete worldwide. These are things we will do. You know, it's one thing to talk, it's one thing to go to the beach or to give up. How many of you feel that our country, oh, it's beyond repair, let's give up? Anybody interested in that? No. Let's reclaim what has made our country great. What has made our country great is what? Our freedoms, our liberties. That's the soul of the United States of America, and our soul today is under attack by our very own government. The answer is no. Romney, Obama are the same, just like Mark is saying. I call them Romney. They're interchangeable. The National Defense Authorization Act. The answer is we will repeal. They embrace it. Governor Johnson will repeal it. He stands for liberty. And the answer is now. The so-called Patriot Act, a direct frontal assault on our civil liberties. Romney embrace it, and we say, no, we repeal the Patriot Act now. Guantanamo, this bleeding sore on the soul of the United States of America, we will close it immediately. It's a terrible thing to have happening. We close Guantanamo now. It goes on and on. We need your support. We really look for your support. Both Governor Johnson and I were in Tampa. You know, we went to Paul Fest. We spoke out anxiously to praise Ron Paul. He's actually won the election in so many ways. He has mainstreamed this whole approach of freedom and liberty. Thank you, Ron Paul, forever. You've earned your place in history. We really applaud you. We celebrate you. You are the beacon of liberty. And congratulations to Ron Paul forever. But now, the torch of liberty has been passed from Ron Paul to Governor Gary Johnson. And I'm here to say it's in good hands. It's in his hands. I'm proud to say it's in my hands, and it's in your hands. We've got to get this done. We must get this done. So do everything you can. We will just continue this fight. We will make it ever larger. You know, it took Ron Paul a lot of years. Just like Mark said, he ran for president in 1988 as a libertarian. That was, what, 24 years ago. It takes a while. It takes momentum. It takes a building. The monument is building for liberty, and we're going to continue this, not just in this election, November 6, 2012, but we're going to continue in 2014, 2016, until we bring it home. With your help, we're going to do just that. Thank you so much for your service. Thank you for that. Let's bring this freedom back to the United States of America. We want to us all. Let's get it done.